Welcome back to episode 5 of the Family Only Run. Last we left off, the family was working on expanding their home and creating new spaces for their children to live, play, and learn the ins and outs of county life. Jake and Amelia took a bit of damage fending off the most recent raids, but they got through them with everyone alive and with no permanent injuries. Let's check in on how our family members are feeling about one another. Jake and Amelia still have a very strong bond, and their opinion of the children is growing by the day. Amelia and Jake have been talking about dice and clubs, while Jake and Jensen have been chatting a lot lately about fighting. First it was fighting squids, which is a bit outlandish, but it must be one of those instances of kids asking weird questions, and Jake was all for entertaining it. Later they talked about fighting foxes, so I'm starting to see a theme. Jake has also been singing to Wallace and playing hide-and-go-seek with him. I suppose hide-and-go-seek with an infant is just hiding behind your hands, and the infant is surprised every time. No object permanence and all that. Jake also succeeded in making Wallace laugh, which is pretty adorable. Later on, Jake and Jensen had a chat about wasps, immediately followed by a conversation about sledgehammers. Clearly they were talking about smashing wasp nests with sledgehammers. The colonists have taken a research detour and are taking a moment to research carpet making. They're planning on putting carpet into the bedrooms, but first they're going to need to unlock the tech. Carpet should look quite a bit better than concrete. It'll increase the impressiveness and increase their mood. Their mood has already been incredibly high throughout the run, but even more can't hurt. Jensen is throwing a party for the family. When one of the children asks for the party, the parents can't really say no, can they? On one hand, I'm starting to think these people are having a higher than usual number of parties, but on the other hand, there are so many horrible things happening on this planet that they must need a distraction from the terror, even if it's just a few minutes of joy together in the dining room. The family still doesn't have any mining skill, and they're awfully low on steel, so the best they can do right now is tearing down more of these wrecks on the map and hauling the slag back. These wrecked APCs have plenty of steel left in there, so let's focus on those first. There's plenty more on the map than just these, but these should provide enough steel for the very near future. That's 12 more slag to haul in. Pretty good for 2 wrecked APCs. There's a huge amount of leather piling up on the shelves. They could make clothing with this, but ultimately it's just going to get sold. Since it's all going to get sold anyway, what they can do is turn it into patch leather first, then make patch leather dusters. They'll get a little bit less money this way, but it'll provide substantially more XP to Amelia, since she'll get XP for crafting both the leather and the duster. She's only crafting skill level 8 right now, so she still has quite a bit of room for improvement. It would be nice to get that to at least 10. Carpet making is finished, so now they can spruce up the bedroom. Now they can get back to researching geothermal power. It'll be a while before they're able to actually construct one, but it'll be nice to have the tech available so that as soon as they get the resources, they can start building one. I'm not entirely sure how I want to set up the carpet in the bedroom yet. Let's try a few different ideas. Maybe blue will look nice. There's already a bit of silver in the checkerboard pattern, so let's try to fit that in as well. We've just received great news. Amelia's pregnant again. This will be their 3rd child. They've had great luck with their first 2 children, so hopefully this continues on for the 3rd. Unrelated to that, the blue carpet isn't really working, is it? Let's try something else. We don't have any dye, so we'll just have to directly replace the carpet with carpet of a different color. It'll cost a bit extra cloth, but that's okay. I think it'll be worth it. Let's try a light green instead. That's a much better color for the bedrooms, but the checkerboard isn't working for me. Let's get rid of that and just make a solid carpet. That looks good, but the colonists used up all their cloth and are coming up slightly short. They can put in some silver corners for extra impressiveness and add a nice balanced design. Okay, the carpet looks good, but the room needs a little rearranging. Let's move the beds and throw in some flower pots for extra beauty and impressiveness. You might be thinking the flowers were Amelia's idea, but nope, it was all Jake. A young child has come by asking for a bit of help. They need some silver to buy something. Let's assume for the sake of their innocence that they need to buy food or medicine. The family does have a reputation for helping the needy, so let's keep that going. They won't miss the silver anyway. Oh my god. This is terrible timing. Boomerangs have attacked just as the young child was making their way off from the colony. The child got absolutely torn apart by the boomerangs. They didn't stand a chance. Moment of silence for the fallen child. Now the boomerangs have thrown themselves at the walls and are hitting the traps as they run along. Not only are they clearing out all the traps, but the fire that is left behind is starting to spread to the doors. If those fires are left unchecked, it's going to cause a cascade of problems. Amelia is going to need to go out and make sure those fires don't spread to the interior doors. Now that all the traps have been destroyed, of course any second a raid is going to strike while the defenses are down. It sure would be nice to have that mini turret up by now. It's 4 a.m. and Amelia is planting all of the flowers in the bedroom. Jensen and Jake are fast asleep while she's hard at work. Well, at least the bedroom looks nice now. There's still a few more things to move. A heat wave has hit the region. This is going to be a test of the colony to see if their air conditioners are set up sufficiently to deal with the massive heat increase. The workshop will be quite uncomfortable, but as long as they have a safe, cool place to retreat to, everything should be fine. The education equipment has been moved, and the beds can be moved one more time to finish off the bedroom reorganizing. Alright, everything looks good. Now they just need to build an end table and a dresser. These two things aren't necessary, but it will make the room look a bit nicer. The colonists have been a bit busy lately, so hauling hasn't been getting done. Even though Jensen does a bit of hauling, he's been restricted to inside the colony itself and away from the danger. That means that only Jake and Amelia can haul anything outside the walls. This does slow things down a bit, but it at least keeps the children safe. Once Jensen is older, he can start wandering beyond the walls. The new steel coming in means they finally have enough to finish building a mini turret. It really is fantastic to get this built because the raids are only going to get worse and worse, and this thing really could be a lifesaver. It's going to stay in the center of the colony to be used as an emergency measure only, if raiders make it through the walls or a drop pod makes it into the center. Amelia is steadily progressing through her pregnancy. Since this is her third one, now she at least knows what to expect during each phase. She's still breastfeeding Wallace, which again is a bit unusual since pawns in RimWorld have a very low chance of getting pregnant while lactating, but here we are. The ambrosia just south of the colony is starting to mature. This should provide quite a bit, which they can use for either mood boosts or for trading. It's likely they'll end up trading most of it, since only the adults are allowed to use this stuff, and they don't need very much of it. Unless something really bad happens, their mood should stay up pretty high naturally. It's really nice to see Amelia working hard to educate the children. Her and Jensen are spending their time at the desk learning about all sorts of different things. Hopefully she's teaching him how to fend off raiders. They'll need the help soon. Speaking of raids, the Scholler Accord have surprised the family while they were hanging out in the dining room. The raiders are landing straight into the freezer. Amelia ran out the door only to realize that Wallace was left in there alone. She ran back in there, grabbed him, and moved him into the hospital to stay safe with Jensen. The raiders smashed things up and then made their way out into the center of the colony. This mini turret was built at the perfect time and is serving as the perfect distraction. The raiders started to rout and panicked. With zero way to escape, they started beating on the nearest door hoping to break their way out. Unfortunately for them, they just couldn't get through both doors before our colonists finished them off. The colonists are safe, but the raid did cause some damage to the colony itself. The freezer took the majority of the damage. The butcher table was destroyed and there's a huge hole in the roof. The colonists took a prisoner from the raid, but the plan is to release them when they're healed enough to walk. Hopefully they bring back word to their friends about what happened here, and they'll think twice next time they decide to raid the family. Well, wishful thinking. One of the transport pods brought a pawn who met an unfortunate end just outside the colony. But in their pockets was a bit of yayo. Jake and Amelia can each carry one dose just in case there's an emergency and they need a bit of a boost. Let's hope they never actually need it, but it is nice to have. Some tribal visitors have been lounging out around the southern wall of the colony. There's also this mega sloth that's been grazing on whatever grass they can find down there. I think you know what this means. The tribals can handle this one. We just need to make the mega sloth mad, and that worked surprisingly well. The tribals took a bit of damage, but Jake can help treat that. Jensen recently had a birthday, so let's have a little celebration. In the past, they've used the Lantern Festival to celebrate the birth of a child. So let's have a Lantern Festival to celebrate Jensen's 5th birthday. He's come quite far in his education, and in just a few short months, he'll reach his next growth moment. Hopefully provide some useful passions and a nice trait. Ouch. It looks like the birthday celebration was terrible. Amelia must have been distracted and Jake was worried about Wallace left alone in the dining room. Or maybe they were all just partied out from the last party. Either way, they will all get a bit of a mood penalty for the next 6 days. Bray Crevasse has been resting in the colony for a couple days now since the Megasloth incident. Looks like he's healed up and is on his way off. That should give us a bit of goodwill with the tribe of Batra. Weirdly enough, they didn't mind getting mauled by a megasloth, so this will just end up as a net positive for the family. The family has a bit of downtime after all the chaos that has been happening over the past few quadrum. Jake is back to shuffling papers at the research desk. Jensen is hustling back and forth, finishing up his hauling chores. Amelia's been looking after Wallace and is pregnant with her third child. So far, everything's been going quite smoothly for the colony. Speaking of which, Amelia has just progressed from the second to third trimester of her pregnancy. The third baby should be here in no time. And now they've gone from a time of peace to a time of torment. Both Amelia and Wallace have contracted the plague. I sure hope it wasn't from that boom rat that moved in recently. I mean, sure, rats carry the plague, but do boom rats? I don't know. Let's make sure Amelia and Wallace get the best medical treatment we can provide. The first 10 can be done with Glitterworld medicine, which should provide a massive early gain to their immunity. After the first 10, they can switch back to industrial medicine. Alright, 130% 10 quality for Wallace and 121% 10 quality for Amelia. That's exactly what you want to see when 2 of your colonists get the plague. Amelia has been resting in the bed for a while now. Her immunity is up to 37%, and the plague's only progressed to 17%, so she's off to a great start. And Wallace is in a similar situation. The second 10 on both of them isn't quite as good, but they should be okay with how far ahead they are. After more bed rest, the 2 of them have progressed to almost 50% immunity. The colony is essentially shut down while these 2 recover from the plague. They focused all of their attention on making sure they recover as quickly as possible. Let's just hope no raids happen during this period. Amelia is currently breastfeeding Wallace while having the plague. Normally I'd say that that's an absolutely awful idea, but I guess since Wallace already has the plague too, what's the worst that could happen? Amelia and Wallace are now recovering together in the hospital. Poor Amelia's dealing with the plague and morning sickness at the same time. I can't even imagine the suffering she's currently experiencing. Let's hope it ends soon. Thankfully, she's at about 70% immunity, and the plague's only progressed to half of that. They both received 100% quality 10s, so they should be up and healthy quite soon. Okay, good. Amelia's just hit 100% immunity. I'm sure everyone in the colony is extremely relieved to see her on her feet again. I imagine Jake and Jensen have been pretty worried. Let's hope the pregnancy's okay after all that plague. Wallace is 5% away from being immune, so that should be happening very shortly. Alright, there it is. Wallace is immune and back in his crib. I'm really glad no raids happened during all that. Immediately following the recovery from the plague, Wallace has had a birthday and has become a child. Now he can walk and feed himself. He still won't be terribly useful in the colony, but at least he won't be in the crib all day long. He can do a bit of hauling and cleaning, so at least there's that. They timed it almost perfectly. Just after Wallace became a child and cleared out space in the crib, Amelia began to give birth. The third child is officially on the way. Jake, why don't you help out Amelia here? Well, the good news is that Jake and Amelia have had their first daughter. They named her Jane. The bad news? She arrives sick. She has a life-threatening infant illness. They're going to have to continuously tend her with industrial medicine to keep her alive. After Jake finished helping with the delivery, he went to the dining room with his two sons and started a party. I don't even think he washed his hands. That's nasty. Amelia's unconscious and the baby was left in the other bed, so they won't be able to attend this one. Jake is going to have to keep an eye on the baby and make sure that illness doesn't get any worse. After enough time, the major illness will turn into minor, and after that it'll slowly go away. That's assuming it doesn't get any worse. Oh look, they've received a gift from above in the form of nutrient-based meals. They've been eating paste for a while, so it's hard to get excited for it, but they can't say no to food. Just as Jake is trying to collect the drop, raiders have struck. It's obvious now that this was all a trap to get the family to leave the safety of the walls. Then again, the raiders are the Neanderthal tribe, and I'm almost certain they couldn't figure out drop pods to save their life. Perhaps the pirates are conspiring with the Neanderthals to wipe out the family. At least Amelia has fully recovered, and now her and Jake can go out and handle these invaders. Spreading the damage out across the raiders will not force the assault to begin, but will still allow them to continue to fire at them. Ideally, they'll all be near death before the assault even begins. Yep, the assault begins and all three raiders are dead. Now that there are a few children roaming around the colony, making the area safe for them needs to be a high priority. That includes clearing off every predator from the map that they can. As a bonus, the predators can be eaten or used to make more kibble to feed the pigs. Well, that's one cougar down, way too many to go. Jane's illness is stable, but it's draining a lot of medicine. They don't have very much left, and they're going to have to think about ways to conserve it. From now on, they're going to have to be on the lookout for any medicine on traders or any quests that offer medicine as a reward. They should have just enough to keep Jane alive, but who knows how much will be left over after all this. The new bedrooms are almost finished. The walls are up, and now they just need to finish the floors and put the furniture in. The plan is to let Jensen and Wallace sleep in these new bedrooms, and then build another one for Jane when the time comes. Unfortunately, Jane's illness is slowly getting worse. As long as they can stop it from getting too bad, it should turn into a mild illness fairly soon, and from there, it'll be easy for Jane to recover from it. I'm sure the rest of the family is looking forward to the day when they know she's healthy. It's finally time to build this high-tech research bench. Not only is it necessary to progress deeper into the tech tree, it's also necessary to have it for getting growth fats. We still need to keep an eye on Jane. Her illness is still major and is slowly climbing upward. They don't have a ton of medicine left, so hopefully it's enough to see her through. The new bedrooms are ready to have their furniture installed. The carpet looks pretty good. I like this little design. There's already a masterwork bed from the barracks that was moved in. Now they just have to build the end tables and the dressers, and all will be set. They don't really need those things, but it will help a tiny bit with comfort, and it will provide a bit more impressiveness. Those things do add up and help in the long run, plus they do look pretty good. These Warwalker feet north of the base can be scrapped, and the slag can be hauled back to the base to provide a good chunk of steel. It shouldn't take Jake too long to smash these things up. They don't have very much HP, but they sure do provide a lot of steel. Jensen has just reached a new milestone. He's turned 7 years old. This will give him his first trait and his first passions. Even while working throughout his childhood, he's received a quality education, and in turn, will have 3 passions and 1 trait to pick from. These aren't bad choices, but they aren't exactly what I was hoping for. I was hoping Jensen would be able to get at least a passion for plants, but at the end of the day, I think this will be okay. Let's pick mining, artistic, and social. As for the trait, optimist will definitely make the most sense here. Happy birthday, Jensen. Somebody sing this kid a song. Just after Jensen's birthday, the colonies received even more wonderful news. Jane has been declared healthy, and is no longer suffering from her infant illness. It did take a lot of medicine, but it was worth it in the end. And the alternative wasn't much of an option anyway. Hopefully she'll end up as a core part of our colony in the end. That's the end of episode 5. I hope you enjoyed it. If you enjoyed this episode, please give it a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to the channel for updates on all future videos. For those of you who made it all the way to the end, please consider checking out my Patreon to help support the creation of more videos like this one. You'll find the link in the description below. Thanks for watching, and see you for the next one.